We're back on Morning Mover. Snowflake set to open at a new 52-week high after UBS upgraded the stock to a buy, raising its price target to $265 from $210. The firm says its recent Snowflake customer and partner checks are signaling a, quote, clear uptick in spending in the company's data stacks, and believes it could be in the midst of a multi-year investment cycle in the data layer. Shares are up more than 20% since the company reported earnings on May 21st. Time now for Options Corner. Joining us to take a deeper look at Snowflake is Rick Ducat, lead market technician. All right, Rick, talk to us about the trends you're paying attention to when it comes to the chart for Snowflake.
Yes, so Snowflake has been really outperforming both its sector and the S&P 500. We can see that for now it's up about 53% during the past year. S&P and tech are much more closely tied here. Also quite highly correlated to the S&P 500 right now. So interesting to watch out if we start to diverge further. But, you know, another of these stocks that was making highs yesterday, we did make a new intraday high, 210.82, but we backed off a little bit and formed a slightly lower close than we did the previous day. We can see, though, that our trend line here that we would draw off these lows still in play for now. We did have a couple of downside tests there, but mostly hanging on here. And more crucially, too, the old highs here near 192.66. That was roughly the low point after our gap up on earnings. And so far, we have not yet retested it. The pattern that we see here is something many traders look out for. A big gap to the upside on earnings or some kind of other fundamental news, a brief downward to sideways consolidation, then a push beyond the initial highs, which would be the bull flag type of pattern. Not saying it's going to work out that way, just pointing out this is a pretty common setup people look for.
And what does volume look like?
Sure. If we were to look at volume here, we can put on our volume profile study. We can see that there's a node right about here near 205. It lines up with our +1 standard deviation channel at 206. That could be a supportive area. And then our area down here where we formed a small range before our gap up near about 185 or so. That would be another area to watch to the downside here. And we could look for, another type of bullish trade setup too, as an example, based on some of this open interest information that I could talk about.
Okay, and then let's get to your example trade, because I know we don't have a lot of time left. So what's your approach for an example trade for Snowflake, especially given the patterns that you just mentioned?
Sure. The highest open interest month is the June monthlies here. The calls, highest open interest areas are 215, 220, and 230 to the upside. There is higher open interest below that, but these are the areas we would focus on for a bullish example trade in line with our analyst upgrade. +1 June 20th. 220, 230, 235, call butterfly at a 130 net debit. So selling 2 of the 230 calls, buying 1 of the 220 and the 235s respectively. Max profit would be 870 at this peak here at our short strikes, but it would flatten out beyond the 235 at about 370. Our max loss is our debit paid, $130 here. So a bullish trade, looking for a push beyond that break-even area there that comes in near 221.30. It would need about a 3% move to the upside or so, but the expected move is about 7.9%. So well within that range there that we could be on the lookout for potential profits.
Okay, all right. That is an example trade for Snowflake. It's a call, a butterfly there, the approach there. That's our Rick Ducat, lead market technician, bringing us the latest on the chart for Snowflake as well.